Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Year 3 scrimmage, number 1 of fall camp is in the books. Took place earlier this morning. Sounds like the defense won the day, especially early, and then the offense kind of came along on the back end, made some plays as well. Really no surprise. I'm starting to get really excited about this defense, particularly like we talked about last night on the live stream with Ben McKee. That front seven is playing really good football. Can the secondary come along? If the secondary can make some improvements, I think 2023 is going to be a very special year for Tennessee football. Josh Heupel comes out to the podium. First statement is good day out there, and also praises his special teams. Says they got a lot of special teams work, likes where that unit is at right now. A lot of you guys regularly ask me, Boogie, what about special teams? It's just not something you hear a lot about, but Josh Heupel praised them right out of the gate. How did the rest of the scrimmage go? We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. Who made the plays, who didn't, who was in attendance, and who sat out. Got some things to get into. But as always, do me a favor, guys, smash the thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, free, easy. It helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't talk at you. We talk with you. We are building a community of Tennessee fans right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. So if you enjoy it, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Right now, I'm live every Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, playing NCAA football and talking all things Tennessee, but also every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time with special guests. Got to get one lined up for this coming show next week, but I will keep you guys up to date on that. All right, let's jump into it. Let's talk about this first scrimmage. And again, this is coming from Josh Heupel's comments after the scrimmage. It's coming from reports from VolQuest, from GoVols247, anywhere on the internet that I can get some type of information about what went down at the scrimmage. That's where this is going to come from. And then we're going to talk about it and break it down and see if we like where this football team is at 1 week into fall camp. Again, sounds like the defense won the day. Josh Heupel said at the podium that they played with great energy and great effort early in the scrimmage. Said they made some good plays against the run and got off the field on third down. Later in the press conference, he came back and said not only did they play good against the run, but they also got after the quarterback. And again, that excites me. We're only 1 week into fall camp, but I'm really starting to get encouraged and excited about the front seven. Cooper Mays, the guy that I mentioned in this morning's video. If you missed that video, go back and give it a watch. Very little views, but I think it's pretty good content about how how Joe Milton, what he needs to do to be successful in 2023. And it's not what you think. It's a very kind of interesting video if you want to go back and watch it. But in that video, I mentioned some rumors about Cooper Mays. That was confirmed today by Josh Heupel. Said he had a minor surgical procedure yesterday. Should be back in time for the season once it gets started. Today they rotated Ollie Lane, Bison Lane, Addison Nichols at center. You know, Cooper's a veteran guy. I think he's going to be fine, but still you want him to get that contact, that physicality. When does he get back? Does he get back the week prior to the Virginia game? I think he's going to be okay, but does he stay healthy? That's something, Josh Heupel seems to be taking a lot of precaution going into this 2023 football season, but that's the deal on Cooper. Minor surgical procedure, should be back before the season gets started. Now, Joe Milton, a lot of hype, a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations. Again, the video this morning, everybody in the national media is talking about Joe Milton. The weight of the world is on his shoulders. Is he going to be able to go out and perform? Josh Heupel said he played good operationally, but said he made some situational mistakes. And I don't know about you guys. Does that concern you? Situational mistakes. He talked about, 4-minute offense and just some things down the stretch that Joe Milton made some mistakes in that process. You're talking about a fifth-year senior. And I don't care if it's scrimmage one, situational mistakes to me should be minimal. So it's interesting that Josh Heupel mentioned that. And maybe I'm making way too much out of it. But again, when I hear situational mistakes from a fifth-year senior, battered Vol syndrome kicks in, and I think back to that Ole Miss game and stepping out of bounds as time expires when you have a chance to go make a play. That's the type of situational mistakes that we cannot have on this football team if you're going to go win 9 or 10 or dare I say 11 football games. But outside of that, outside of the situational mistakes, said he's pleased with his command and decision-making, said processing the offense at a really high level, his decision-making, understanding protections, hot reads, eyes pre and post-snap, really good. He talked a little bit about Nico, not a whole lot. Said it's go time. It's time to throw everything at Nico. Said they're putting it all on him, running the full offense, understands the protections, the checks. Said he hadn't been perfect, but he's grown a lot. And one thing that he said about Nico that I love is that he doesn't make the same mistake twice. And he even said I think it was in today's scrimmage that he made a throw and he was still standing in the pocket and started to realize the mistake that he had made and understand that he should have gone here instead of there. And that's showing maturity for a young kid just right out of high school. But again, I think it's big that Nico and some of these guys were on campus early enrollees, got to take part in spring. So now they're ready to go. Guys like Nico, guys like Ethan Davis, who is going to be somebody that's counted on this fall. Talked about the wide receiver rotation. Now, Brew McCoy, Ramel Keaton, Dante Thornton, Squirrel White, very limited today. Didn't do a whole lot. And the Go Balls 247 report basically said they're being treated like preseason NFL wide receivers. Just not a whole lot of action, and that's fine. I don't know that they need it. Dante Thornton coming along, Ramel Keaton, Brew McCoy, Squirrel White all have experience in this offense. A couple of guys that got praised by Josh Heupel was Chaz Nimrod and Caleb Webb. Said they're making good strides. I think that's good for the future. You know, you look at the depth at the wide receiver position, and I think we're going to be just fine this year. Brew McCoy is going to be gone next year. Ramel Keaton's going to be gone next year. I think Dante Thornton's goal is to be a one and done. I think he wants to come and play 1 year and try to get to the NFL. So does that happen? We'll see how this season plays out. You're going to have Squirrel White back. You've got, some young guys like Nathan Laycock, but you need some guys to come along and kind of be ready for next year. Somebody asked me if I was concerned about the depth at wide receiver. Not really for this season, but as we look ahead, it excites me to hear that Caleb Webb, Chaz Nimrod making plays. Josh Heupel said the main 4 guys continue to push and compete, operating very efficiently, playing with great fundamentals and technique. Went on to talk a little bit about Dante Thornton, says he has the ability to play inside or outside, and he mentioned a lot of the guys in this offense, and this excites me because we've seen the way that Josh Heupel is going to scheme guys open, and he mentioned a lot of guys in this offense that have versatility and the ability to use them in different ways. And again, go ahead and scheme them up, coach. Go ahead and scheme them up, get them ready to go. Versatility is huge when you've got an offensive mind like Josh Heupel that's going to utilize that. He's not going to talk about it. He's going to be about it. Back to the defensive line. Again, reiterated the success in the run game, praised the linebackers for filling gaps, talked about good tackling in space. And again, I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I think it's important. He talked about the ability to not only stop the run, but to get after the quarterback. Omar Norman Lott is a guy that VolQuest mentioned as having a good day. Continue to hear more and more about Omar Norman Lott as the fall camp goes on. And again, we're only 1 week into it. But, Coach Heupel talked about the lack of depth when they first arrived in the transfer portal and all the guys, the mass exit of players, and how many of those guys were on the defensive side of the ball. And he talked about now going into year 3, the amount of depth that they have on this football team and how that creates competition at practice. And they have a real they look like an SEC team. That's something I was talking to a listener about today. We were messaging back and forth. You look, just their bodies, their physical appearance, they look like an SEC team. Now, the biggest concern for me going into this scrimmage, the offensive line. Sounds like today they played John Campbell Jr. at left tackle, Jackson Lampley at left guard, Ollie Lane at center, Javontes Spraggins at right guard, Jeremiah Crawford at right tackle. And Coach Heupel talked about moving guys around, working certain guys at guard and center. We've seen Addison Nichols do that. Obviously, Ollie Lane has done that. He said he thinks the versatility will help with depth, but I think if you're moving so many guys around, you're bouncing so many guys around, I think that shows concern that we don't have a set 5 on this offensive line, and it is concerning. And again, it's good on good. It's orange versus orange. It's Tennessee versus Tennessee. So we read that the defensive line had a really good day, stopping the run, getting after the quarterback. So in your brain, you start circulating around and saying, okay, is our defensive line that good, or is our offensive line that bad? That's the conversations you have with yourself during fall camp. What do you guys say? Are you concerned coming out of scrimmage number 1, hearing that the offensive line was whipped by the defensive line? Do you get excited about the defense or concerned about the offense? He did give a lot of praise to Javontes Spraggins. Great energy. Said he great influence on the offensive line and the entire football team. Said he plays with great effort and physicality. Said he put in the work this offseason. I think Javontes Spraggins saw what Darnell Wright did and saw him being a top 10 draft pick and said, hey, that's my goal. That's where I want to be a year from now. And he put in that work. And I think Javontes Spraggins could be a first-round draft pick if he goes and puts in the work and has a successful year in 2023. Talked about the running back rooms. Jabari Small had a few nice runs, played really well after missing spring camp. Briefly mentioned Dylan Sampson. Something that excited me about that, said that Dylan Sampson played really well, not only in the run game, but also in the passing game. And I think pass protection kind of kept Dylan Sampson limited at times last year. So hearing that he's coming along in the passing game, pass protection, that excites me for the young running back because he's electric, man. He's dynamic. He's a playmaker. That running back room to me is absolutely loaded right now. Talked a little bit about the secondary, the defense. Didn't give a whole lot of information there. One thing interesting that, again, we talked about last night, talked about it again this morning, is that star position and the fact that Warren Burrell sliding in there and getting some work at star. Also, Jordan Thomas was a guy that Josh Heupel mentioned today. Said they're just trying to get their 5 best defensive backs out there in the secondary, and talked about how Warren Burrell's experience alone, understanding the defensive scheme and what they want to do allows him to slide into that star position and make plays and understand where he's supposed to be and when he's supposed to be there. Didn't mention Gabe Jeudy-Lally, but he also got some run at the star position, according to VolQuest. One last thing that Josh Heupel talked about was this tight ends room, and that's another one. I wouldn't say like the offensive line concerns, but depth concerns, right? Because you've got Jacob Warren, you've got McCallan Castles, and then you've got a true freshman in Ethan Davis. And if you listen to McCallan Castles, his appearance with the media yesterday, talking about back in spring camp, Ethan Davis asking him a question and him looking back and saying, bro, I don't know, man. I just got here too. So those guys have to learn a lot, right? They have to learn a lot before we get into that first game against Virginia. But Coach Heupel had a ton of praise for Ethan Davis and McCallan Castles. Both said they're going to play a lot of football this fall, expects them to play at a really high level. Said they're a lot further along than they were during the spring, and they both, what I like, both really good out on the perimeter. And, something that a lot of us have been talking about ever since McCallan Castles arrived, his size, his strength, his ability to make plays in the run blocking game. But hearing that McCallan Castles can make plays out in space, that excites me. I'm starting to get on board with you guys. Maybe you were right, and Boogie just wasn't educated when McCallan Castles transferred to Tennessee. We'll see what happens when the bullets are flying for real. What type of plays does he make? But Heupel said that today was McCallan Castles' best day of camp. So again, sounds like the defense won the day. Offense made some plays on the back end. Are you concerned about that offensive line unit? Jump into the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Also, as you know what to do, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door and hit that join button down below. Hit the join button down below. What I'm doing is giving away a free t-shirt to anybody that joins the channel between now and next Wednesday. We're going to give you an opportunity to win a t-shirt. If you join, however many dollars you give per month is how many entries you are getting into the raffle. So if you join at the highest tier, you're going to have a really good shot at winning a free t-shirt. But everybody that joins between last night on the live stream through next Wednesday, we'll announce Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time who won the shirt. If you don't want to wait, you can go buy one at bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. But if you don't want to do that, you don't want to hit the join button, you don't want to contribute, that's fine. I ask nothing of you guys other than smashing the thumbs up because it's quick, free, and easy. Jump into the comment section. Let's talk some Tennessee football because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.